So when that $1,200 came, I used a portion of it to upgrade my phone because through watching YouTube videos, I knew if I wanted to be a content creator, I needed to have at least a good phone. So some of it went to that. I also went to Ross and purchased things like, these really cute backgrounds that you have right now, little flowers, a shelf, just like something that would look nice if I'm recording videos. I also bought a Canva subscription to be able to make my own content. And I formed my LLC with that $1,200. And the last thing is I bought some domains. So for my website, etc. And then the little bit that was left over, I kept it in case I wanted to run ads, which I've never run ads because I know nothing about it. So that's really how I divvied up that $1,200. And the rest of it went into just sweat equity.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Hey, babe, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about one of my favorite topics, women and money, and women who have made a huge pivot and have turned their life around. Because whatever your story is, wherever you are right now, if you feel stuck, if you feel like, man, I'm 30, I'm 40, I should have, I could have, whatever that is, your story is not over. And we have a very special guest today, Ellie from Ellie Talks Money. And we're going to get into her pivot story because it is absolutely incredible and inspiring. And I'm so honored to have Ellie with us. Ellie, welcome to the Sugar Daddy Podcast.
Yes, thank you all so much. I'm so excited to be here. I absolutely love the name as well, the Sugar Daddy Podcast,
Yay.
because why not? So I'm really excited to spend this time with you all.
Yes. And just in case, Ellie, you didn't know, I'm the Sugar Daddy, just to be very
Oh,
clear.
period. We
Yes,
like that.
exactly. I know. I wanted to make sure you knew. Let's get into this bio so that everybody knows why we are so excited to chat with you today. Ellie Diop is a business and strategy coach and the founder and CEO of Ellie Talks Money and Elevated Academy. I see what you did there. That's
Yeah, you see
cute.
it?
I see it. Ellie took her $1,200 stimulus check to start a business that she turned into a multi-million-dollar company in under a year before turning 30 years old. She has served over 50,000 students and is committed to assisting women to build successful businesses so that they can live the life of their dreams. Ellie has built a community of over 500,000 people and has helped her students secure over $7 million in business funding. She has been recognized as one of the 25 most influential new voices of money by Next Advisor and is a top 100 most influential African American by The Root. She has shared her business's success story and expertise in several media outlets, including Fortune Magazine, Entrepreneur, Newsweek, Fox Business, Business Insider, Next Advisor, and Bloomberg, just to name a few. Girl, you are busy.
I'm like, what? It's so funny when I hear the bio like that. I'm like, dang, I guess I have gotten a lot done.
I
And it's
love
so
it.
funny because you don't always think like that. I know for me, I'm always hard on myself. Like, come on, Ellie, you can do more, you can do more. But it's really nice to sometimes sit and just take it in like, oh wait, I'm doing a pretty good job.
Yes. And it's so funny because we always read the guest bio and so many people say exactly what you just said, like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I guess I really have done this, right? Wow, I really have been working hard. But I
Yeah.
think you guys are just so hardworking that you're always on to the next thing. So I want you to also, I'm going to encourage you today to pause and celebrate everything you've built and your successes. And I know we're going to get into it, but I mean, just applause to you.
Thank you. That means so
Yes.
much.
Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, we have to get into your first money memory, and then we will get into this community you've built, the business you've built, and how you're just crushing it at life.
Oh my goodness. So my first money memory. Okay, so this could even be like in childhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first money memory, and I think when I really understood what it meant to have money or not have money, I went to a private all girls school from, fourth grade all the way up to when I graduated. And it was a predominantly white school. I was one of just a handful of, little black girls. And I remember, was maybe in class at one point, we were all talking about what our parents did for work. And I was mostly listening because I knew that at the time my mom was a substitute teacher. And so I was listening to these parents, I mean, to these kids talking about their parents. And I remember one girl was like, yeah, my dad is a lawyer. And somehow it got to the topic of how much they make. She was like, "Yeah, my dad makes $250 an hour," which I don't know. He doesn't think it's a lot, but it seems like a lot to me. And I remember in that moment, like pulling out my calculator and calculating like a 24-hour day times $250. And my mind was just blown. And I remember telling myself, like, if my mom made that kind of money, like she could pay for this without a problem. She could do this. She wouldn't be stressed. Like, it really has sat with me all that time, all this time. And, it made me realize there are levels to this life.
Mm.
You can certainly earn one amount and, struggle, or you can do whatever it takes to get to that next amount. And I think it was at that moment that I decided I'm going to figure out how I can make $250 an hour or more at some point in my life. And thank God I found a way to do that.
Oh my gosh. What a powerful story in like fourth grade to be, calculating that or even to be having that conversation because I know our kids are 7 and 5 and we talk to them about money all the time, but they still don't have a concept, right?
Yeah.
So even for the other child to say, my dad makes $250 an hour and he doesn't think it's a lot, but I think it's a lot. I mean,
Right.
that's like what?
That's also like also the fact that she knew how much her dad made in fourth grade and understood all that. Like
Right.
that's
Exactly.
But if you're talking about money and you're always trying to level up, then you're hopefully, we know that in the white communities and the Asian communities, like people are talking about money. Like
They're talking about money.
this is what you're doing at the country club and on the golf course and while playing tennis. So the kids are absorbing, we think they're not listening, but they hear us.
I mean, like growing up, I didn't never knew it like until I got older how much my mom was making, but I had an idea that we were doing fine in comparison to
Yeah.
like my peers.
Yeah.
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 That's
I think that's really interesting. And, now myself as a mom of five, I think back to that a lot. And, I don't tell my kids how much we make, but I'm really intentional about taking the taboo away from money
Hmm.
because I know my mom never talked to me about money. I just knew a concept of we can't afford it, or, if you go to the store, don't ask for anything because you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? So I understood that money was something that you could use to get things that you wanted or needed, but there was never any conversation of budgeting or finances or, saving or investing. And I remember, also at that same school, one day, one of the students were talking about this new company, Apple,
oh.
and how her dad was talking about getting investments in Apple. And, I mean, y'all, this is, let's see, I was 8 or 9 at the time. So that's like 20 something years ago. I mean, so this would have been at the debut of Apple, like before the first iPhone came out. And so I can only imagine if her dad actually did make that investment, I mean, come on. We,
Yeah.
we're not
I
going to
have
cry right here, right now. Okay.
But we all wish we would
I have a
have.
fun story because my mom is a retired college professor, and in education they actually used a lot of like Apple computers. Like my mom had the first Apple laptop when it came out, but never invested in Apple at that time. So like literally growing up, all I used was Apple computers back when they were called Macintosh,
Yeah.
and she never invested in it at that time.
What
Never
a
invest.
miss. What
You
a miss
see?
in
Oh,
life. I
God.
know.
I
I
mean, granted,
know.
hindsight's 2020, and my mom has
It
done
is.
very well for herself, and money's not an issue. But I'm still like, Mom, like, how did you
But
miss
it
that
could have been
one? Could
better
have
with
been
that
better.
Apple
Oh,
stock.
man, with that Apple, girl, if we had all done it. But,
Oh, I
just
know.
even that, the fact that their children at the time were overhearing those conversations, that's probably dinner table conversations. So we have to, and I know it's been my mission as a mom to make those kind of conversations dinner table conversations too, so that it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like when they do get older, they're just, deer in the headlights in the real world about money and, how to make it.
Oh,
Mhm.
we definitely tell our kids, especially how much things cost,
Yeah.
because they still think like $100 is a lot of money. I'm like,
Yeah, it
I
used to be,
know.
not anymore. Yeah.
Oh, girl, we can run through $100 quick. Look at that. And I used to remember
Yes.
just buying
$20.
berries.
Yes, $20 used to get you, movies, a meal, okay, maybe also something at the gas station, and you might have some change left over.
Not
Yeah.
Now
Those
anymore.
days are gone.
$20 is
Long
nothing.
gone. Yeah. Ellie, let's go into your kind of origin story of the $1,200 stimulus check that you turned into a multi-million dollar business, because walk us through that. How does one take $1,200 and, talking about $20 what it used to be, $100 what it used to be, $1,200, is a lot of money, but most people don't see that as a life-changing amount, and you
Yeah.
really turned it into a life changer.
Girl, so let me take you back to where I was at that time. So, when I was thinking about starting a business, I had just gotten a divorce. I was living back at my mom's house with my four children at the time. My twins were only, I think, 9 months, 6 months, something like that. It was very, very, very fresh because I had just had them in April and we separated in like September. So they were very, very small. And then, shortly after the pandemic hit, so here we are in 2020. Now I'm at home with all four kids. I don't have a job. I'm doing DoorDash and Postmates. And, it was really up at that time because of the fact that no one was going out. So I'm, got my kids in the back seat. We're driving all around LA, delivering people's Chipotle, delivering pancakes, just like, girl. And so when I knew that those stimulus checks were coming, I started to think, okay, I feel like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. What am I going to do with this money? Now, of course, being a mom, my children got their own little stipend, but that just went into a savings account for them. I had to think, what am I going to do with this $1,200 that's going to come? So I actually got mine later than almost everyone else in the country. So I think that that was an advantage because I saw people taking their stimulus check and going to the Louis Vuitton store. I saw people lining up at the Grove. I saw it and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take this money and go and buy a bag. Like, I'm not going to do that. So when I got mine around May or June, I knew I was gonna put it towards something, I just didn't know what. So, really at that time, I had already thought about maybe I should start a consulting company because prior to starting my business, I worked for a startup in the financial services. And so I was director of sales at that startup. So I had a lot of experience with sales. I had a lot of experience with, marketing, managing a team, and I loved financial services, So I knew that that was my world and my gift. But now that I wasn't getting hired for a job, how could I take those skills and actually put it towards something? So I had started to create content on LinkedIn. I was like, all right, maybe people will hire me as a consultant. Nothing was popping off. So when that $1,200 came, I used a portion of it to upgrade my phone because through watching YouTube videos, I knew if I wanted to be a content creator, I needed to have at least a good phone. So some of it went to that. I also went to Ross and purchased things like, these really cute backgrounds that you have right now, little flowers, a shelf, just like something that would look nice if I'm recording videos. I also bought a Canva subscription to be able to make my own content. And I formed my LLC with that $1,200. And the last thing is I bought some domains. So for my website, etc. And then the little bit that was left over, I kept it in case I wanted to run ads, which I've never run ads because I know nothing about it. So that's really how I divvied up that $1,200. And the rest of it went into just sweat equity. I committed to posting 4 times a day, every single day.
That's a
Every
full-time job.
single
Ooh.
full-time job. I'm like, "You know
Oh,
what? If no company is hiring me, I'm going to hire myself, and I'm gonna show up for myself the way that I would show up for a job if I had one." And so I made content creation my job, and I was just talking about finances. If you're a business owner, here's what you can do to make more sales, things that I had experience with at the job that I had. And it really wasn't until I started talking about business financing and business credit that everything took off. So, long story short, my first ever product that I sold was $15. It was called a business credit masterclass. And I was educating entrepreneurs how they can build their business credit and become fundable. And that product made me my first $10,000, my first $100,000. And then I created a second version that made me my first $1,000,000 off of a $50 product.
that
Yep.
is So incredible. I love
That's
you. You said so many things. Were you gonna say something?
No, I'm taking it all in, and for those people out there that don't realize how much time goes into making social media posts, you may see a 30-second reel. Trust me, it takes probably at least 30 minutes to an hour to probably create,
Oh, yes.
And
at least.
and sometimes
Yeah.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
for
gosh.
sure. It is
I
and it's an investment of time for sure.
100%. I love that you observed what other people were doing, right? Because everybody was like, "I got my stimmy," and they were out in the streets. And
Yes.
you were like, "I'm not gonna do that." And I think so many people did exactly what you just described. They were like, "Oh, it's free money,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna do whatever I want, or,
Right.
do some I'm gonna treat myself." And you were like, "I got these kids. I'm up in my mama's house. This is not for me."
You know what's
It's
funny
not
to me
for me.
too? People
Yeah.
always think it's free money as if like the
Well,
government,
right, that
as if
part.
it, like we didn't give the government this
You
money
pay
to turn around and give it
taxes.
back to us.
Right. But you
Right.
went and did something so responsible, and you had a plan. And I mean, even just the way you talked about how you divvied up your money, you got your domains, you knew you are going to take this money and invest in yourself and show up with something that is very specific, right? You have your niche.
Yeah.
And it's so important because even regular credit for people don't know how to build credit. People don't know what makes up credit. People don't know why their score goes up and down.
Yeah.
And even if they have a lot of money but they don't have credit, business credit is completely different. And
Yes.
so the fact that you realized that that is a market and you tapped into it, and I mean, you, aside from your courses, you offer so much free content. I mean, if anybody, and of course we'll link all of your socials, you are
Yeah.
constantly dropping this grant, this opportunity, apply here, the deadline's coming up for free money.
Yeah.
You just have to
Yeah.
go after it. I mean, you're providing so much knowledge. It's just absolutely incredible. So kudos to you. Oh my gosh.
I really appreciate that because, I've been told that, oh, you give too much away for free, and this is usually from other people who are in the community or in this maybe content creator world. And I'm like, but you know what? We need more of that. I want people to feel like, wow, if I could learn this information from her without paying, imagine what I'll learn when I do pay. And that's always
Right.
the experience people have is they get, some free gems, like I like to say, off of my content. And then they come to a class or they enroll in a product and their mind is just blown. And I feel like, you know, in terms of just a giving principle, I feel the more that you give, the more that you'll receive, and that's how I operate my business. So, yes, I might give a lot away for free, but it has never rendered me broke. You know what I mean? It has
Yeah.
never not worked out in my favor. And so I will continue to do that because I think also in this social media world that we're in, and now there's a lot of people creating content, people talking about business credit. I mean, you see it too.
Mhm.
People need someone that they can trust. And I think that when you can just extend a hand and say, hey, whether you sign up for something or not, here's the information. I think that that helps, let people's guard down so they can say, you know what? Maybe I'll go with her or maybe I'll enroll in her class because up front, she didn't ask me for anything. She just simply wanted to see me win. And so that's one of our core principles at our business and with our team. Like, we truly want to see people win, whether they enroll or not. That's the start of it. And they typically enroll. So that's a good thing.
And I consistently see, individuals who are successful and doing great things that they are consistently giving out so much free stuff.
Yeah,
And like just like you said, it doesn't hurt your business because it like you said, it's a lower entry point for a lot of people. And
exactly.
especially when it comes to like the business credit stuff, like I see so much wrong information on
Oh my
business
God.
credit. It's insane. Like I'm like, yeah, you are telling people to commit fraud is what you are doing currently.
Oh.
It is so crazy now. And sometimes I think, like, because when I started talking about business credit, I was really the only voice in the Black community. And I was really the only woman. And so, sometimes I wonder, like, gosh, did I create this wave of people just really excited about business credit and funding? I don't know. But what I see happening is there's a lot of lack of integrity. Why are you telling people to do this? And I know that this is illegal. Like, I know that this doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work like this, you know? It's so dangerous. And, I can only do so much. Like, I can only create so much content. I cannot, and I don't want to denounce people, I don't want to get messy in that way. But now a lot of our content and, a lot of my emails that we send out has really been telling people be careful. If you see a video that has 50,000 likes and it seems like everyone's like, oh, this is so cool, ask me. Check, now you can check Google, like double check these things because people just want to get the clicks, get the sale. They may not actually care if you end up getting
Yeah.
caught by the feds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not do that. Yeah, girl. That's the bittersweet side of, content is that you
Yeah.
can have those who really are doing it for the right reasons. And then you can have those who are like, hey, I just want to make quick money. And you can make money with content, but there's where the integrity comes in.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's great that there's so much access to information now, but then
Yeah.
there's also information overload. And as
Yes.
far as people have a hard time deciphering between what's true, what's false, and then also even out of the true stuff, what's applicable to their situation. And I feel the same way that you do, especially, with the financial services industry, that like I see so much stuff out there. And only time I ever comment on somebody else's post that I don't know is when you're just giving factual, incorrect information. Like it's not my opinion. There's a definitive
It's
answer,
the
and that's not
facts.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
Ellie, talk to us about the early course.
Yeah.
And, did you have a bunch of naysayers? Did you have a great community of people saying, this is amazing? Yes, there's a need, keep going? Or, would love to know what you were kind of up against because content creation, we are in it every day now, but it's still fairly new, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to monetizing it and then getting a course up and running. I mean, walk us through
Yeah.
a little bit of all of that.
Yeah. That's such a great question. I mean, when I first started to create the content, I I was living at my mom's house, so she didn't understand what I was doing. Okay. She just thought I was on my phone all day. I remember one
Yeah.
day her really yelling at me, like, I'm taking care of these kids and you're just on that damn phone. And I'm like, you don't understand what's going on. Just bear with me.
Mm.
But when I started to take this content journey, I honestly was silent about it. It was just me, myself, and I in my room. A lot of the time, if I was going out and doing DoorDash, I was making content on the road. And I think the reason that I intentionally kind of chose to not get a lot of people's advice, friends and family, is because I didn't want anyone to deter me from at least trying. And sometimes, us as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, we have a vision that's clear to us, but it's not going to make sense to anyone else. Like, I knew if I told my mom, hey, so I want to try my hand at posting 30-second videos 4 times a day and see how much money I could make. She would have been like, go get a job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I said, you know what? I have to protect this idea. I have to protect my own courage because we can have the courage when it's just us. As soon as we start telling other people and someone says that's not going to work, we're deflated just like that. So, really, no one knew what I was doing or how it was going until maybe I crossed the 10,000 follower mark. Then
Mm.
it was like, oh, I remember my neighbor was like, hey, girl, I saw your post today. What you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. So that's once I had my confidence up and once I proved to myself that it was working, then I started to let people in because even when my mom had, her negative opinion, and shout out to mom, love her, but she just was saying what she
It's
knew.
a different generation. They
It's
don't
a different
understand it.
generation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So even when she had that negative opinion, by then I already had proof of concept. So it was like, you know what? I understand that's where you're coming from, but I'm going to keep going because I'm seeing traction. This is going to work. And so, to the other point that you asked in terms of how did I get myself up to create the course or what was I up against, it's actually really interesting because I didn't think that I was going to make a course about business credit. I thought my first product would be about sales since that's what I was in. But when I made a post on Instagram about business credit, because, working at my startup, I was working with my CEO a lot. I understood that he was always taking loans. I understood that we had to produce documents that showed how viable the business was, so I understood what it meant to get funding as a business. And so I was talking about that on the post. And, it got, at the time, 500 likes was a lot for me. It got 500 likes, 85 comments. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm onto something. And so that day, I told the people who commented, I said, hey, I'm going to put a business credit course out. It's $15 on pre order. Go to the link in my bio. 10 people purchased on pre order for $15 right in that moment. And I said,
Wow.
okay,
Did
we're
you
on.
have the course ready at that
No,
time?
I did not.
I love it. I love
I
it.
did
You're like,
not
I
have,
got to get it ready now.
I have
yes,
I have heard about a lot of people doing that where like that's their test of concept. Is
it's
like,
the
are
test of
people interested?
concept.
Then I'll go ahead and make it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the test of concept. So as soon as those 10 people purchased for $15, I said, oh, I made the course the next day. And, it wasn't perfect. I made it on Canva. I sat on a Zoom like this and recorded myself teaching through this presentation like a PowerPoint for 1 hour, uploaded that recording to a platform called Gumroad, and we were off to the races. And so I think, for those that are listening, get out of your own way. It's so important. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need the fancy cameras, the fancy background. I recorded that course in my bedroom at my mom's house.
Yeah.
And that is what went on to making my first 10,000, then my first 100,000, and it paved the way for my first $1 million. So you really have to pay attention to the signs. As soon as you see that you have even a group of people interested in something, go out and do it. Make it right away. Make that prototype right
Mm-hmm.
away and allow the people to give you feedback. Once those first people purchased the $15 course, then they started saying, well, hey, I was able to get this score in business credit. Now I want to do this. Can you help me? That's what made the way for part two, part three. And, here we are now. So it's so important to just do it. Don't think about how it looks, just do it because that is what is going to lead to the next renditions of everything.
Like the
I love
biggest
that.
thing I took from that was you initially had an idea of what you were going to do, but then you listened to your audience of
Yes.
what they wanted and then you pivoted.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, sales is obviously such a powerful topic. Everybody's selling something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's obviously a market, but the
Yeah.
fact that I think that's an important thing too, is you were looking at what was happening on social media. Where were you getting the likes? Where were you getting the comments? And,
Exactly.
social media gives you a lot of powerful data if you take the time to look at it. And so that's
Yes.
something else that we've had a couple of other content creators on, and they're like, you have to look at the data. You
You
can't
do.
just willy nilly post, and think, oh, people are going to love this. You have to look at the analytics because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to be missing a potential, gold mine, which you landed on.
And I
So,
think that's such a great point as well. And something that I often remind myself of, even now, 5 years in, is, it's not about me. The content that I create is not for me, right? I know these things. It's for the people who are going to consume this content. And, that connects to the larger purpose of being a business owner. You're here to provide a solution. Someone needs that solution. So I could have stayed stubborn and said, well, I want to teach sales and I want to create a course on sales. And so, like it or not, that's what I'm going to do. But that's not what creates successful businesses. I had to listen to my audience and realize, they don't really care about sales. They want to know how they can position themselves for funding success. So let me
mhm.
lean in and give the people what they need. And I think, now for those who are growing businesses, who are content creators, you have to recognize that there's a big element of servitude in running a good business, right? Yes, you are running this business and your life is getting better. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're also in it to help other people's lives get better, whether it's just them watching a 30-second video or actually enrolling in, a 3 hour long course. That has to be a big part of it. And so I realized early on, My job now is to be the best business credit coach, business funding coach, business grant coach on the market so I can ensure the people are getting what they need. And a nice byproduct is as well, my life is financially changing too, for the
Yeah.
right reasons.
I think the fact that you lead with such integrity is why your business has been successful because there's a lot of noise on social media and you have to use, some critical thinking and some discernment to kind of weed through that noise. And
Yeah.
you have shown up genuine and transparent and honest from the very beginning. And I think that resonates, especially when it's like everybody's pushing a product, everybody's pushing a course, everybody's got an affiliate to this, to that. And so you have to really find the people who are very clearly in it for the right reasons. And just from this conversation, you can tell like you are there to serve the people, you know?
Yes, for the people.
For
It's a
the people.
moonshine.
Yes.
And you also walk the talk
Yeah.
because to start with $1,200, especially during the
Insane.
pandemic,
Yeah.
and then to build it to what you have today, and you built a good portion of it in less than a year, like, that's insane.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
And
Yeah. It's
it just shows that for, like, other people that maybe have been doubting themselves that, like, there is a route, there's a way to do it.
Hmm.
You don't
there.
need thousands upon thousands of dollars to start your business. Now, obviously, depending on what your business is, but,
Yeah.
there's a way.
Hmm.
There is a way, like they always say, if there is a will, there is a way. And, even when I'm coaching clients, some people are like, I just want to run ads. I want funding so I can run ads. And there's nothing wrong with ads, but I have not run any ads in my business and I've been able to build it to what it is now. So I often tell them, hey, I know it feels like just throwing money at ads and throwing money at the business is the solution. But if you don't have data, like we discussed, if you also don't know what your audience wants, and if you don't already try to build it yourself without money, you're not going to really appreciate the results that may or may not come with ads anyway. It's really important to first start bootstrap. You really have to bootstrap the business. I think that in order to truly see if the business is viable, if you even really like the business that you're doing, you have to bootstrap it and approach it with, okay, I have $0. How am I going to get this off the ground with nothing? If you can get it off the ground with nothing and get some traction, so whether that's getting views, now you're starting to get follows, or you're actually pushing a physical product. If you can get it off the ground with nothing, now, ads or money is just fuel to the fire. You've already got the fire going. Now you're just throwing gasoline on it. That is how you're going to be able to scale that business. But if you have no proof of concept and you just think money or $100,000 in funding is going to make the business come to life, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to be in debt and you're going to be stressed out. So doing it with nothing, I think then creates the foundation to then be able to really do it long term with more money and with funding.
That's such a good call out.
So I do want to kind of pivot to a little bit more of the focus on building the business credit.
Yeah.
What is one of the biggest misconceptions that you think people have when it comes to building business credit?
Wow. I've heard a lot. Let's see. I would say, gosh, I would say the biggest misconception that people have is that you can only build business credit with personal credit. I think that is a misconception. People think that they go like this, they're hand in hand, and it's not the case. Now, when you are first growing your business and you don't have a business credit score, having your personal credit will help you get that business credit card. For example, you cannot walk up to American Express, and I used to work there, so I know you cannot walk up to American Express and want the business platinum card and your business has only been in existence for 3 months. It's not going to work. You have no history. But if you have a 700 credit score and you say, you know what, I want the business platinum card and here's my personal credit to help me get in the door, yes, you can get the business credit card. And the great thing about business credit is that when you are issued a business credit card or a loan in your business name, it will only report to your business credit. So you will not see an American Express platinum card on your personal credit for your business. Like if it is a business platinum card, it will not report to your personal credit score. It will only report to business credit. So I think that's the biggest thing. People think that when you're building business credit, it doesn't really matter what you do with your data or what you do with your trade lines as long as you have great personal credit. No, you need to have both because your entity is separate from you. So, me as an individual, I can have great personal credit, but you also need to make sure that your business, which is its own entity out in the world, has great business credit because that is what is going to get you into doors that your personal credit cannot always get you into. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think that that is really, really key. Um, I would say probably the second biggest misconception is that you don't have to do anything to build your business credit. People think that it will just grow on its own just simply by having an LLC for 5 years, but that's not the case. You do want to make sure that you add trade lines. You know, some can be as simple as net 30 accounts with places like Uline and Quill. Those will boost your business credit score. Other trade lines are, vendor accounts or gas cards will build your business credit. There are ways to intentionally boost that score so that when you do approach a lender, they can see, hey, this business has not only been around for 2 years and I have their business bank statements, but they also have a consistent payment history on their business credit profile that shows me they pay things on time. That is really, really important because now more than ever, lenders are looking at that. They really are.
Mm.
So, for a listener out there who maybe does not have that 700 credit score to help from a personal standpoint to initially get their business credit started, what are maybe some steps that someone like that should take?
Ooh, that's a really great question. So, if you are someone listening and you do not have good personal credit, but you do want to start building business credit or accessing business credit cards, there's a few places you can go. So, number one, Capital on Tap is a great business credit card provider that does a soft inquiry on your personal credit and will typically approve you for as low as $2,500 on a business credit card to as high as $50,000 on a business credit card. That is a great place to start building up business credit history. It's an actual credit card that you can use, and it's only going to report to your business credit. Another thing that you can do in order to start accessing business credit, even if you don't have the best personal credit, is start to build up that score with those trade lines. So I know it's not exciting, but Amazon has a net 30 pay by invoice opportunity that allows you to access business credit. Uline does, Quill does. These are accounts that are going to build up that business credit score. Now, that will only take you so far. At some point, you are going to need to have at least a 650 personal credit score, especially when you're trying to get that first loan or first large limit business credit card. So, what I would say you should do is on the personal side, go ahead and add an account with a company called AVA. And I'm not sponsored by them. I just really love this product. So Ava is going to approve you for a $2,500 or $4,000 personal credit card. And it's only going to allow you to use about 25 or $30 of that limit towards things like subscriptions. Now, what's really powerful about this is you're going to get this high limit, but this really small or low utilization. And so within that first 30 to 45 days of that personal credit card with Ava reporting, you're going to see a 50-point increase. Many of my students have seen a 75-point increase, 35-point increase. That is a great way to get that boost in your personal credit that you need. And now you can go to the table of these business credit card providers and of these business lenders and say, hey, I've got my business credit together and my personal credit score just went up by 50 points. So that is really going to help you be more of a power player when you're trying to get funding for your business.
Okay, you just gave away a lot of really great
You
information
see? I just
Free,
told
for
you.
free
free.
information.
Free 99. Is this what
Yes.
people can learn like back to back to back in your courses? Like how because Here's the thing. We are at the point in life where I will pay for good information. That way I don't have to sift through the bad information. I don't have to waste my time doing the research.
Yeah.
Is this what people are coming to you for? Is like a crash course and like get me started?
Absolutely. And I'm really proud to say that since starting my business in 2021 or 2020 rather, we have now had over 50,000 people enroll in my business credit classes. So I've had the
That's insane.
pleasure of teaching over 50,000 people how to get funding. And I mean, I can't even count how many people have gotten approved, but we have a rough number that at least we have helped people secure over $15 million in business credit, business loans, and some grants are sprinkled in there too. So, I mean, I'm so
Wow.
excited about that. I feel like that's really amazing. It's gone to their businesses. So, yes, our signature program for funding is called Fully Funded, and it
Mm,
is very in depth, but that course will empower you on all fronts. You'll learn how to build your business credit. You'll understand what micro lenders you should approach, what a CDFI is, which is a community development financial institution. Those are also great places to get funding, even if your score is as low as a 550. We touch on, of course, how to build your business credit, how to fix and build your personal credit. Because I just want to say something really quick. Those of you who are listening, if a company is telling you, oh, give me this money, or a content creator is telling you, pay me XYZ and I'll fix your credit for you, that is illegal. Please don't do it. And I'm looking
mm.
directly at you, the camera. It is illegal. Okay. You should never be paying anyone to fix your credit for you. Now, someone like, for example, we give you the template of the dispute letters you need. I tell you who to email, who to call, the address. You can pay for the information, but don't let anyone make you think, pay me and I'll fix it for you. Please don't do it. Please don't do
That's a
it.
great call out.
Yes.
If it seems too
So
good to be true, it usually is.
it usually is. It usually is.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm so big on in my courses, we want to teach you how to fish. So fully funded is so in depth in that way because I want you to be able to go out and get that money. All those $15 million we've helped people secure, I don't get any kickbacks from that. And that's okay. I could make my business model, oh, just give me the money and we'll do all the work for you and go get you the funding, right? There are people that do that. But I genuinely want you to learn how to fish so that you can go out and then keep getting funding over and over and over again as a result of this product. So, yes, fully funded. We're the best.
I love that. That's incredible. Also, we need to update your bio because I said 7 million and now you've more than doubled that
Oh my
for all of the
gosh.
funding. That's
I know, we just thank you
huge.
for that. I need to update my bio,
Yeah.
yes, because
You can't
these
even
people are
keep up with all the
I
money. I mean,
cannot. It's so exciting. It's a
that's
great thing.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, let's pivot into your new business because you are in Senegal, which is beautiful. I love when you like take your family strolls. And let me just say too, I love that a lot of your content has kind of pivoted into like, look how beautiful Africa is, look how beautiful Senegal is. I mean, and obviously there are a lot of parts in various countries in Africa that are impoverished and
Yeah,
that is still a truth, but there's also wealth and community and businesses that are booming and real estate that is booming. And I really appreciate that you are showing that side
yeah.
of your new home as well. And now you're building this beautiful cafe and co working space. So, walk us through this new journey as a business owner of like a storefront, like a brick and mortar. I mean, that's a whole new ball game.
It is such a new world, and, it's crazy because I was talking to God the other day, and I'm like, "God, why did you give me this idea to open up this cafe? Like, I don't know anything about coffee. I mean, I drink coffee, but in terms of making it, I've never had a storefront. My business has been primarily virtual, but the idea was so clear. When you get that loud voice, do this, it's like, okay, I can't ignore it. And it's truly been one of the most challenging things I've ever had to bring to life because it's such a different world. but it has reaffirmed my belief in entrepreneurship and reaffirmed my belief in what we talked about earlier, that sometimes you just have to do it. Even if it's not perfect, I feel like it's those days where I'm creating that $15 course again, and putting it out there like, that's what this time is. And it's so exciting because it gets better every day. So, we're in this area of Dakar is called Mamels, and it's really, I would say it's a really artsy area. There's a lot of Americans that live here, a lot of French people. It's very modern, I would say, and we're really grateful. I'm really grateful that we have a corner location. So wherever area you're coming from, you can see us right here, which is so, so cool. And I think my favorite part of opening this business has been the jobs that we've been able to create, because I've had the pleasure of building out my own team through my business with Elevated Academy. But, these are real people with, real families. Senegal and most African countries don't have a stable job market, so there are not a lot of jobs. We've been able to hire now 10 people, which is like so cool, major. That's 10 households that we get to support. So I'm really, really excited about that. And we should be opening in another month. So I'll save you guys
Yay.
a frappuccino.
Yes, please. Thank you. It looks beautiful. I love all the drinks that you guys are testing. They look amazing on all the fresh fruit. And I keep telling Brandon, I'm like, we got to get out of here.
You got
We
to.
got it. It might not be Senegal, but we need to go and visit. We need to come, pop up our laptops in your
Yes.
co-working space. And
Come through.
yes.
And I think something that I would add too, just for those who are listening, like, I really want people to understand that this is, again, a completely new business for me. And I was very scared to go into a new business that I have no experience in. But one thing that those of you listening and just everyone needs to understand is that if you have the idea, you already are capable of bringing it to life. I firmly believe that you would not receive an idea, your mind would not even go to that place if you already did not have the capabilities to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
And now, as you mentioned earlier, we are in the information era. So although I don't know how to necessarily open a cafe, Google does. YouTube, you know what I mean? YouTube can tell me some stuff. ChatGPT,
ChatGPT.
can
Yeah.
tell me some stuff. And so you kind of just mix that in with your own experience. You try, you test, you try, you test. And I think that's the really just beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is you can do anything you want to do. You know what I mean? You can bring any idea to life because you have the ability to test, try again. Okay, that didn't work. Try again. Let me do this. Oh, messed up. Try again. And, I really want to encourage you all listening, try again, just because it didn't work the first time, do it again. If you have a question and you can't afford mentorship, ask ChatGPT. You can at least get some generic information there. But I don't want to see people holding back on their idea just because they're not experienced or qualified in that area. You don't have to be qualified. You just need to know that you have the vision and you go find the people that are qualified. You go
Yeah.
find the baristas. That's who we found. Now you go find the chef who can make an eggs benedict. I can't make an eggs benedict, but he can. You see? And so that, I hope that really frees someone to say, you know what, I'm going to go after that business because if you have the idea, you can do it. It's just a matter of finding the right people.
Yeah. Well, Ellie, we usually ask, what do you want to leave our audience with at the
Oh,
end?
here we
But
go.
that was
You left
that
with
was
a
the
lot.
perfect wrap up. I mean, this has just been such an inspiring conversation. And look, I know that we could talk for several more hours
Okay.
about the highs and lows and the ups and downs and the obstacles because I'm sure it wasn't always rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
But in the information era, you can figure it out. You can bet on yourself, believe in yourself, hire the people or bring on the people who also believe in your vision, who can fill your gaps, those eggs Benedict gaps,
I know.
right? And you can do it. And this has been such a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us and dropping so many gems. This is
Yes, it
amazing.
really has been such a wonderful conversation. I cannot wait to come back. We'll have to do a part 2 maybe once we
Yes.
open.
Would love
But yeah,
that.
I would love for anyone who's listening to keep in touch. Don't hesitate to reach out, send me a DM. I always answer. My team always answers. No robots over here. It's really us.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to helping you all with your businesses.
Where can everybody find you, Ellie?
So you all can find me at Ellie Talks Money. You can also connect with my funding agency, which is Fully Funded Co. You can find both of those in my bio. And if you're a mommy who wants to make more money and build wealth for your babies, then you should definitely follow my brand, Mommy to Millionaire. That's everything that we're focused on over there too.
Oh my gosh, spoken as a mom of 5. I don't know how
Yeah,
you do it. That's
I don't know
crazy.
either, girl. Pray for me.
Oh, yes, we will. Ellie, thank you so much. This has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money.